The cheapest car to own on this entire list has a Lexus badge on the trunk. Let that sit. I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about what I've tracked through my shop over 20 years. What these cars actually cost owners to keep, not what they cost to buy. And the number on that Lexus will change how you look at a used car lot forever. The customer who argued with me longest about number 1 on this list? He bought something else. 3 years later, he called me from a dealership service bay, $4,800 transmission job on the exciting car he chose instead. He wasn't calling to tell me I was wrong. Stick around. You're going to want to know which car it was, and why nobody's buying it. When I say almost nothing to own, I'm not pulling that from a press release. I'm pulling it from repair logs, parts invoices, and 20 years of conversations with people who came in smiling and left with a number they hadn't planned for. These cars sit at the absolute bottom of real-world annual repair costs in their segment. All 3 are being ignored on used lots right now. That's not a problem. That's an opportunity, if you know what to look for. And by the end of this video, you will. Alright, so you know why these 3 keep appearing at the bottom of repair cost data. Here's what most people watching right now still haven't figured out yet. They don't just have lower repair bills. They have the kind of reliability that changes what your bank account looks like 10 years from now. The difference between owning one of these and owning the wrong car isn't $2,000. It's closer to $12,000 to $15,000 when you account for depreciation curves, unplanned repairs, and service intervals you're simply not paying for. Real quick, before we get to number 3, if you own any of these 3 cars already, there's one specific fluid check you can do in your driveway right now, no tools, 2 minutes, that tells you whether you're on track for 250,000 miles or quietly heading toward an expensive surprise. I'll show you exactly how at the end. Don't leave early. Number 3 is a car that almost nobody in the used market is actually shopping for right now, which means it might be the single best deal sitting on a lot near you. Car number 3, Mazda 3. Number 3 costs its owners under $400 a year in unplanned repairs on average. That number stopped me too, the first time I saw it confirmed across the data I track. Under $400 per year. 2 weeks ago, a 2018 Mazda 3 came in, 131,000 miles. The owner wanted a full pre-sale inspection. She was thinking about selling. You know what we found? Brakes at 40%. Tires even across all 4. Oil clean. That was it. I told her she should keep it. I've had maybe 60 of these through my shop. The 2.0 and 2.5-liter Skyactiv engines are so over-engineered for what they're asked to do that failures are genuinely rare. I'm not looking for things to fix on these. I'm looking at them waiting for something to need attention. It barely comes. You know what I pull off Mazda 3s constantly? Nothing. That's the answer. Nothing catastrophic. Mazda made a deliberate choice to stay naturally aspirated when every competitor was going turbocharged for fuel economy numbers. No turbo means no intercooler, no wastegate, no boost-related heat stress cooking the internals every time you accelerate hard. Think of it like the difference between a sprinter and a marathon runner. The Skyactiv engine runs comfortably all day at its actual capacity. The turbocharged competition is running near its limit constantly. One of those 2 situations ages better. You're looking at it. Average annual repair cost, $433. Average major repair over 10 years on a well-maintained Mazda 3, under $2,200 total. Segment average for compact sedans sits around $1,100 per year. Over a decade, you're saving $6,700. That's not nothing. That's a year of car payments you're simply not making. If you're buying a used Mazda 3, check the timing chain cover for any oil seepage around the 80,000-mile mark. It's a $180 gasket, not a $3,000 engine job, but only if you catch it early and only if your mechanic isn't half asleep. And change the transmission fluid every 45,000 miles regardless of what the service manual says. The manual was written by someone who didn't want to scare buyers at the dealership. 45,000 miles. Don't negotiate that interval. The Mazda 3 is the best kept secret in used sedan value right now. Dealers don't push them because there's almost nothing to fix, and that's a terrible business model for a service department. That should tell you everything. That was number 3, and it already makes a case that's hard to argue with. But number 2 is the car I've watched save families from genuine financial disasters. And there's a specific version of it that most buyers overlook completely. The version you buy matters more than whether you buy it. Car number 2, Honda Accord. The Accord is 50 years old. And somehow, the car that's been on the road longer than most salespeople have been alive is still the most parts available, most serviceable, most predictable sedan you can buy under $20,000. That's not a coincidence. That's engineering discipline. Last year, a 2014 Accord Sport rolled in with 198,000 miles. Owner wanted to know if he should sell it or keep driving. I put it on the lift. I went through it top to bottom. I looked him in the eye and said, "Drive this to 300,000. This car has more life in it than the monthly payment you'd take on something new." He called me last month. Still going. Still clean. Now, why can I say that with that much confidence? Because the 2013 to 2017 Accord with the 2.4-liter naturally aspirated engine is one of the most documented powertrains in the history of the American used car market. It was used across multiple Honda and Acura platforms. Every mechanic in the country has worked on one. Parts are everywhere. And parts availability, that's the factor buyers almost never ask about, and it's the one that determines whether your $300 repair turns into a $300 repair or a 4-week wait for a part from overseas. Here's the one decision that matters most when you're buying a used Accord. The 2013 to 2017 with the 2.4-liter, buy it with confidence, maintain it normally, drive it forever. The 2018 and newer with the 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, better fuel economy, more power, but a documented oil dilution issue in cold climates. In winter temperatures, gasoline can wash into the oil during short trips, thinning it out before it burns off. In Phoenix or Miami, it's a footnote. In Minnesota in January, it's a real consideration. Not a deal breaker, just something you need to go in knowing. The 2013 to 2017 Accord averages around $390 per year in repair costs, essentially the same territory as the Mazda 3. The 2018 and newer turbocharged versions run closer to $520 annually, still well below the segment average of $1,100. And because parts are available from every major retailer, you're almost never paying dealer markup on anything. Timing chain, not belt, not a replacement item, means no $800 job you have to budget for every 90,000 miles. If you buy a 2018 or newer Accord with the 1.5-liter, change that oil every 5,000 miles. Not the 10,000-mile interval the maintenance minder will show you. That interval was programmed for ideal operating conditions, highway miles, warm climates, long trips. If you're doing school runs and short commutes in cold weather, you're not operating under ideal conditions. I've seen engines sludge at 80,000 miles because owners trusted that dash indicator. 5,000 miles. Don't argue with that number. If this is the kind of straight talk that's actually useful, hit subscribe. I've got more coming that dealerships definitely don't want you finding before your next purchase. Who should buy the Accord? You want the widest parts network in the country. You're keeping it past 200,000 miles. You want your regular mechanic, not a specialist, to fix anything that ever goes wrong without ordering parts from 3 time zones away. Who should walk away? You need the car to make you feel something. The Accord will never do that. It will start every morning without drama, never strand you, and feel exactly as emotionally engaging as a Tuesday commute. That's the trade. For many people, that trade is completely worth it. If you need excitement, look elsewhere. The 2013 to 2017 Accord with the 2.4-liter is the one I'd put in my own driveway. Every other car in this segment is measured against it for a reason. Alright, that's number 2. Now here's where I need you to stay with me. Because number 1 is the pick that's going to feel wrong at first. Most people say they can't afford it. I'm about to show you exactly why that's completely backwards. Car number 1. Lexus ES. The cheapest sedan to own on this list has a Lexus badge on it. I'll say it again because I want it to land. A Lexus, a car that people don't buy because they assume the repairs will bankrupt them, is the lowest total cost of ownership entry on this list. This is the argument I had in a parking lot. Customer, smart woman, done her research, is standing in front of a 2016 Lexus ES 350 at $16,500 and a 2016 midsize SUV from a German brand at $17,200. She points at the Lexus badge and says, "I can't justify it. The repairs will eat me alive." I asked her one question. What does that German SUV average per year in unplanned repairs? She didn't know. Most buyers don't think to ask. Here's what I knew. That specific German SUV model averages $1,400 a year. The Lexus ES she was standing in front of? $551. She bought the German SUV because the badge felt more justified. 18 months later she called me. Turbocharger. $2,900. She called back 6 months after that. Control arm bushings. $1,100. I didn't say I told you so. I gave her the estimate and changed the subject. I've had this conversation more times than I can count. The badge creates a number in people's heads, a repair cost number that has nothing to do with what the car actually costs to fix. And the Lexus ES exploits that psychology better than almost any car on the market. Here's why the math works. The Lexus ES has shared its platform and powertrain with Toyota's most reliable sedans for 3 decades. The ES 350 uses the same 3.5-liter V6 found across the Camry V6, the Avalon, and the RAV4. Same engine family. Same parts. Same labor time at any competent independent shop. The 2GR Series V6 is one of the most documented, most serviced engines in Toyota's entire history, which means parts are everywhere, knowledge is everywhere, and you're never stranded waiting for a specialty item. When you buy the Lexus ES on the used market, you are buying a Camry with a quieter cabin, better leather, and a badge that has scared off half your competition. You are not paying a luxury tax on reliability. That tax evaporates the moment you drive off the lot. Average annual repair cost for the Lexus ES 350, $551. National average for luxury vehicles, $1,200. You are paying less than half the category average for a car that feels, and is, genuinely premium. A 2016 ES 350 that's stickered at $42,000 new can be purchased right now in the $15,000 to $18,000 range with under 80,000 miles if you shop with patience. You are getting $42,000 of Toyota engineering for Camry repair bills on a car that half the market has eliminated based entirely on badge anxiety. That math is not complicated. It's just not the math most buyers are running before they walk onto a lot. Remember the customer I mentioned in the first 30 seconds of this video? The one who argued with me and bought the exciting car instead? That car was a 2016 turbocharged European sedan. The transmission job he called me about was $4,800. He's financing something new now. The ES he walked away from is still sitting in someone else's driveway at 178,000 miles. Still running clean. He knows. I didn't have to say anything. Here's the fluid check I mentioned at the top. Works on all 3 of these cars. On any used Accord or Mazda 3 with a dipstick accessible transmission, pull it, check the color, new fluid is pink red and translucent. Dark brown or burnt smelling means someone skipped service intervals. Walk away or negotiate down hard. On the Lexus ES specifically, get underneath and look at the rear axle seals. There's a known minor seepage point on higher mileage examples, around 130,000 to 150,000 miles, where the rear differential output seal starts to weep. It's a $90 part and a 2-hour job if you catch it weeping. It's a $2,100 replacement if someone drove it dry. 2 minutes underneath the car before you buy. Don't skip it. Who shouldn't buy? Who should buy the Lexus ES? You want a genuinely premium interior without the premium repair bills. You're keeping it long-term and want the lowest total cost in the luxury segment. You want a car whose depreciation has already hit the floor and whose reputation for reliability is only going to grow as buyers figure out what they've been ignoring. Who should walk away? You need all-wheel drive. The ES is front-wheel drive only. If you're in a serious snow country, the ES isn't the right answer regardless of how attractive the ownership math is. That's the honest limitation. Everything else about this car, I'll defend in any parking lot. The Lexus ES is the most undervalued car on a used lot right now. Full stop. It wears a badge that scares off half the buyers, which means you win at purchase price, you win at annual repair costs, and you win at resale value as the market eventually figures out what it's been walking past. Buy one and thank me later. Drop a comment if you've owned any of these 3. I want to know if your real-world experience matches what I'm seeing on my lifts, and specifically, I want to know if any of you have pushed a Lexus ES past 200,000 miles. I'm tracking those numbers. 3 sedans. The Mazda 3, the Honda Accord, and the Lexus ES. All 3 are sitting at the bottom of real-world annual repair costs. All 3 are being undervalued on used lots right now. And all 3 will still be running strong long after the car that felt more exciting has already been to the auction block twice. Next time you're on a lot and a salesman pushes you towards something shiny, You now know the one question that changes the entire conversation. Not, what's the payment? Ask, what does this car cost per year to keep? Watch what happens to his answer. Watch how fast the pitch changes. If you want the other side of this, the sedans and SUVs I've watched drain checking accounts, the ones I've turned customers away from because the repair costs more than the car is worth, I made a whole video on exactly that. Specific makes, specific model years, specific failure points. It's right here. Watch it before your next lot visit. 20 years of turning wrenches. Like, subscribe and share to your loved ones that are walking onto the dealer lot this weekend. You might save them from a $5,000 repair bill. Take the information or leave it. I'll see you in the next one.